What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And of course, I have here with me Dayo. Dayo, what's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hectic week.
Of course, it will be a hectic week, and also Arsenal give you another hectic week again. Arsenal there to it.
See, look, Arsenal,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Newcastle, they literally outplayed us. They outplayed us. That's all it is. Oh, no, they did. They did. Let's not even. I hear. I was hearing people say, "Oh, Arsenal were not playing and I was like, that's not it. Newcastle wanted it more than we did. They won the first ball. They won the second balls. Like, what are we talking about here? They ran the
Hmm.
midfield ragged. The only person who was doing anything there was Thomas Partey, and he was playing right back, and he had to invert to actually come and play in the midfield and make an effect, to give some kind of direction to where our midfield was going to.
Mhm.
Um, the goal, I mean, what can you
That,
say?
that goal was a very good goal.
There's
Very
nothing
lovely goal.
like, am I going to blame?
Typical striker goal.
No, like, am I going to blame Saliba and Gabriel for such a wonderful cross that Gordon put directly to the head of Isaac, who we know is a prolific goal scorer?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want them to do? Kick him in the air and get the penalty and keep it back? It's
I
like,
think that space was too much, allowing him in that middle
no.
because
But
Saliba
see,
was there, Gabriel was there, and he
yes,
was
yes.
just in the middle.
Look. Like I said, they outplayed us. We say allowing him like he doesn't have the ability to read the game and
Very
actually
true,
step
though.
into his space. He does
Space.
have that ability. So it's very funny when I started hearing people talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm upset that we lost. I'm really upset that we dropped points. But I also understand that this is a game of football where a team can turn around, right, and be on their A game, no matter how good you are. And there's luck as part of this thing, you know. Um,
Did Arsenal even actually create a chance? Because I
I don't
couldn't
think
see Arsenal trying to do any. I couldn't
I
see
don't
Arsenal
think
trying to do
yeah,
anything
we were not we
for
were
them.
not
Huh.
we were run off the park. They just didn't we didn't have any answers for any of their questions. We couldn't create anything. And to be fair, I think Newcastle played better than we did.
They are, of course.
Um,
Newcastle wanted him more.
Mikel Arteta got it wrong with the setup, and I won't say he got it wrong because no, because that same setup was the setup that everybody was saying, oh, Leandro Trossard in the 10. Can Odegaard make it back into this Arsenal team? Trossard is creating chances when Odegaard is not there. I heard a lot of Arsenal fans say that, and I was like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about.
But wait,
You
now
know,
you're talking about the setup. Now you just said something about the setup, and Trossard has been the one playing in that, trying to replace Odegaard that position, and like you said, it has worked in the past.
yeah.
But I don't think that should, because I've seen Arsenal playing that same setup and create chance, like not one, like clear cut chance whereby like they are cutting into the team, creating chance. But
But
against
Newcastle,
Newcastle, you guys were not.
no,
Just as I
because
said, you guys
because
have.
Because Newcastle had an answer to what we wanted to do. It's that simple. Like I don't. It's not hard to understand. A team, Eddie Howe sat down and did his homework against Arsenal in this game. He did his homework. The players wanted it. You could see the fight in every duel. That
Yes,
Newcastle
they were
was
very
pressing.
aggressive,
They were very
very
aggressive. They
aggressive.
were trying
Yeah.
to get the ball. So it wasn't a case of basically they outmuscled us and they outplayed us. And it was St. James's Park, and it's a difficult place to go in the first place, and that's no excuse for an Arsenal. We should go there and get our points. Of course, based off what happened last season as well,
Mm-hmm.
the way things were refed, I think this should have been fuel for us to go there to just try to destroy them, or even just get 2-0, 3-0, whatever it was. But they were ready for it. They were ready for the fight. Look, I was telling somebody they're telling me, it's Mikel's fault. Mikel set them up wrongly. I said, okay, let me give you an analogy, right? I understand that your manager could set you up wrongly, but did you give 100% in what he asked you to do so that we'll know that that thing doesn't work properly? It's like me, let's say it's like me being a boxing coach and
Mm-hmm.
telling my boxer that when you get in there, left hook is the way to knock him out. He's always putting his hands down. But then you get in there and you're jabbing your left hook instead of actually putting power behind it. And as you're just jabbing your left hook, you're coming back and saying, but it's not working. How will it work? Put some power behind it. Give me 100%. The Arsenal players did not give 100%. Even though Mikel set them up badly, they did not give 100%.
Okay, now I want to talk about something like your midfield. Mikel Merino, I know it's his first season in Arsenal. Sometimes players need time I believe my own belief is sometimes I believe maybe players need time to adapt because it's a new system, you understand, new team. But so far, it just feels like it's really not working in the sense that Declan Rice, Mikel Moreno, and who has been maybe the Trossard.
Was Partey on Trossard, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems
because
like it seems
our
like
real
really not working. So wait, I want to ask now, Dayo, do you think it's time maybe like if Trossard, sorry, if Odegaard comes back, should it be a Mikel Moreno? Should it be a Mikel Moreno, Trossard, and Declan Rice, or a Partey who has the ability as a very good GM to carry the ball forward? You know, Trossard is very good at.
it will be
Sorry,
it
Partey
will
is
be
very good at that rather.
it will be Odegaard, Partey, and Rice
And Declan Rice. You think
Rice or Merino, yeah.
that should be the real
I,
midfield.
it's not about the real midfield. I don't like to shoehorn my team and say these guys are the main. No, because every team you play requires a different type of setup. Sometimes you don't play the same way against every team, but you don't play Man City in every game. You know, you play teams that do low block, mid block. Sometimes you play teams that play high line. You play teams that press you. So depending on what it is, you play teams that are very physical. You need a Mikel Marino who's a dual winner in that kind of game. You're not going to, if I need to rest Thomas Partey so that he doesn't get injured, because Mikel Merino can play 6 as well, and Declan Rice is also very physical. I'll play Merino and the Declan Rice so that Partey doesn't get injured. Even though I know Partey can be physical, but we know he's injury prone. So this is why you have players like that in your squad, because you can actually rotate and use them when you need them, and not shoehorn yourself and be like, this will be my 3 main midfield. Because here's where the problem is. Odegaard happens to be one of our most important players. Now that he's been injured, we've seen what has happened.
Yes, it's
So
like it's like a Rodri effect on Man City.
That's why I don't like to shoehorn. That's why I prefer to make sure that if I was a manager, like, I would find multiple ways to use my multiple players in the midfield and play in different ways, so that that way, if one person is injured, I'll just switch to style B using the other guys.
But now I want to say something though. Creating chance, I don't think, okay, like I want to give an example. We're missing one, like for example, Man City are missing Rodri, but that does not stop Man City from creating chance. But we can see there's Man City are not the same, which we'll talk about later on. Now, for us now, you've missed Odegaard, who leads that press, who is your most creative player. But don't you find it worrying that the team cannot create? Okay, let's say Arsenal are creating and they are not getting the result, but when they are not even trying to create at all, because even before
Arsenal plays differently from City. We're not the same. City has Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo Silva. All these I'm calling can create. Foden. City can mention 4 or 5 people that can create, all for Haaland. Where City's problem would be is if Haaland is out of the game and has no way, or if Haaland is injured, that's when you see City's most weakness. City has many creators, right, and 1 scorer. Arsenal has 1 creator, 1 scorer, which is in Kai Havertz, basically like the only other person who can really score for us.
Bukayo Saka creates now.
No, and then Saka, but I'm saying Saka creates off on the right. Down the middle, Saka is not the one creating down the middle. Majority of our ball is coming through down the middle anyways, before we can get it to Saka. So what happens when you have nobody in that middle that can actually create? There's a loophole because of how Arsenal plays. So, but very different from City. So the idea that City will create many chances because of the type of players that they have. City will create, even without Kevin De Bruyne, you will still create. You have Foden, you have players that can create. For us, what is missing in our midfield is players that can create as well. But because of how we are set up and how we have, or how Mikel Arteta decided to set up, which is as a more defensive team with a slightly creative midfield.
Yeah.
Like creative, lightly, more defensive, and depending on our wingers. So we're like, all right, Bukayo Saka can do the business when he gets the ball. Martinelli can run our defenders. Kai Havertz can be in there and hopefully, can get us the goal. He can do great runs off Bukayo Saka and allow Saka cutting to be able to also shoot, because Saka can score. Saka will give us GA. Havertz will give you GA. Odegaard will create a lot of the starting opportunities.
Yes.
Those GAs. He may not be the one who gives you a lot of assists as well this season. I don't think he will. On the left, Martinelli just needs to sharpen up. He's not really where he's at.
I think you guys are, to be fair, I think you guys are, I don't want to say weak on that left-hand side, because Trossard, when he comes up from the bench, he delivers. But Seems ever since he has been like Ateta has maybe giving him that trust, it has not really
Well,
been like when it comes up from
he's had to trust him. He doesn't have an option but to trust him. And yeah, he's not. But that's the thing again. I these narratives, I don't buy them because this was the same Leandro Trossard for 2-3 games that was flying in that position, and Arsenal fans were saying, and even rival fans, Odegaard get back in this team when he gets back because of how well Trossard is playing. Then we go and play one game where Trossard plays, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Trossard is playing so well. Can Odegaard get back in this team?" After all, Arsenal played Tottenham without Trossard and without Odegaard, and they won. Arsenal played without Odegaard here and they beat this game. Arsenal went to this one and they did this without Odegaard. This Arsenal team is, and then all of a sudden Arsenal gets 2 back-to-back losses. And it is finished, it's over. This Trossard cannot play 10. Why are they trusting him? I'm like, look, reactionary much is all I say. Reactionary much. Every team is going to eat breakfast this season. Everybody's going to chop their 2 or 3 losses. No, everybody's going to get their 2 or 3 losses. And I'm happy to have my 2 or 3 losses out at the beginning of the season. If I can now begin to put a run in and gain momentum, so that by the time I'm playing the likes of City and Liverpool on the second leg, my momentum is so good, like last season where I was on a bounce and just went 16 games. That's what I want. I would rather have that than the falsehood of trying right now, struggling to just win the games, and then the season still be struggling. No, so if I can shake off all the cobwebs now, great stuff.
Okay, but Ethan Waneri, you think it's time? Like I think that should like give him.
Time.
It's not. You feel you think it's not time?
I personally don't think it's time.
And wow, because I've had some Arsenal like friends that are Arsenal fans that believe it is time because they say age is just a number. Once someone knows how to do it, a football player knows how to do it. It doesn't really matter. He will step up.
These fans are the same fans who.
But Ethan Waneri, if don't you think maybe if Mikel has seen that okay, it wasn't really working with Trossard in that midfield after yes, it worked in few games, but it hasn't really worked. Maybe you should have trusted Ethan Waneri now to like, okay, be that guy. Let's see what you can do.
Okay, so I hear you. Ethan came in for 30 minutes in the Newcastle game.
And he was looking very.
They bullied him.
Yeah, but he
did not look any. Let's not do this.
No. He made some very good moves.
Let's not do this. He looked good on the ball when he had the ball, and then he was bullied off the ball. He looked good on the ball. What moves did he make? I'm not saying he's a bad player. What I'm saying is, on this day of this game, Newcastle was. If that was Ethan in the beginning of the game, from the beginning, he would have been bullied throughout the 90 minutes too. Just like they bullied everybody else on the pitch. So let's not just do this. Like Ethan is an amazing player, and he's going to be a phenomenal player for Arsenal. And there are certain games where his confidence needs to be built even more. In the cup competitions, we see how he's thriving. He scored 3 or 4 goals in the cup competitions already. In 2 games where he's played 4 90-minute games in cup competitions. He's made cameos in the Premiership. Right now, this year in the Premiership, there's many tough teams that are at the top there, really struggling. Chelsea is back in it. A bunch of teams are back in. Aston Villa is still in it. These are teams that are not, it's no game out there. And I'm not saying it because of his age. I'm also just saying it because you have to know that because Odegaard plays a certain way for us, people think Ethan Nwaneri can come and lead our press. He can't. Odegaard leads the press differently.
Yeah.
The only thing that the both of them can do is they both create, right, in that midfield. But if he's not giving us the press, just like Odegaard, we're not going to play like we play when we have Odegaard. We're going to need to play a different way when we have Ethan Nwaneri because then somebody else has to lead the press on his behalf.
Yeah.
While he does the creating. So the system will still change. So yeah, is it time like, oh yeah, Mikel must begin to trust him in every game? No, I think Mikel must use him wisely in the games that he needs. He needs a player that can create while you have somebody on the pitch that can help him press.
Okay.
So it's
so you feel Mikel Arteta should be managing it just the way he has been going about it. You should keep on doing like.
I don't know if I manage him the way he has been going about it. I think that in games where, for example, in games where we're leading like 2-0, right?
Okay, can bring him in
to let his confidence be built up properly and bring him in early. If I score 2 goals in the first half against any team, I'll bring in Ethan Nwaneri and let him get his fill of 45 minutes in the Premiership, and maybe he could do something as well. So, but bringing him in games where you're 1-0 down, you're trying to catch the game, or you're 1-1, you're trying to finish the game and see if you can get a winner. You're putting pressure on this young 17-year-old. So managing
Wow.
him the way he's managing him, I don't
But
think that's how you're managing him properly.
but like to me, I don't even know. Like because when you look at players like Lamine Yamal, who are he's very young, see Rico Lewis, yes, like Pep is Rico Lewis, not he actually easing into the. I remember Phil Foden too. I remember when Phil Foden was getting, they were even like, I'm saying,
They
will
were
I say
all
teasing, criticizing Phil Foden was a bench warmer, the how he, but Pep was easing him into the team. But then again, I think there's no blueprint to how this thing work. That's what I want to say, because now he can come on, he can be playing lots of games and it will work out. And
Yep.
also it won't work out at the end of the day, because I'm thinking about your next game, which is Inter Milan. And I'm trying to recall the time when he in that Inter Milan's midfield playing against those guys, Barella and the rest. I'm
Hey,
like,
look, the kid has what it takes. My thing is, there's ways to. Every team is not the same. Not every young talented player will be a Lamine Yamal.
yeah, because I think Lamine Yamal them are the wild cards, the 1% of in
Yeah,
this
those are
like
wild. Yeah, it's like, yeah, when people say, "Oh, but Lamine Yamal is young," and I'm like, yeah, Lamine Yamal is a different breed of. It's almost like when you talk about Ronaldo and Messi.
yes.
Like, who are you comparing? Which players are you comparing to them? It's like that's a different breed of players. Okay, everybody was talking about Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal. Nico Williams this season has been trash in his club. This whole season, he has been trash in his club this season. So is he really the truth? Like they said he is. Lamine has showed it
Yeah, because
consistently for
yeah,
club and country.
consistently.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my thing is, every you have to look at the player that you have. You know the talent is there. You know he can do it. And the reason I said I would manage him in such a way by in games where I'm up 1 or 2-0, I'll bring him in
Yeah.
to build his confidence so he can add to the value. And if we win that game 3-0 and he gave an assist, he's feeling good. In games where we're down 1-0 or 2-0 and I'm bringing him in and he's trying his best and we're not even able to, draw that game. He
Yeah.
leaves the pitch feeling dejected, as in like I couldn't really give a lot to the team. And you don't want a player feeling that way at this age. That's all I'm saying. Like, so I would manage him totally differently.
Okay.
Against Inter Milan, Mikel Arteta will do what Mikel Arteta does, which is he defaults to senior players.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta defaults. I've told everybody this. People don't like to listen. If you go look at Mikel Arteta's record, he defaults to senior players before he would then start saying, "Oh, the younger players."
Okay.
It's just something he does. Now he's got to start being a little more bold and taking the risk. And again, I don't mind as a manager if I'm going to take a risk with Ethan Nwaneri, even against an Inter. I'll let him know you've got the first 25 minutes or the first 30 minutes. I want to see what you can do. I'm not asking you to go and become a hero and score. I'm asking you to do the simple things that we have practiced in training. I want you to hold the position and the profile that I want you to, where I've asked you to play, and do it judiciously. If you do your job and everybody does their job, we can win this game. But if you get carried away or you get distracted or you start making silly errors and everything, I'm subbing you immediately. There's no big deal about that. Like, I have 5 subs. I'll sub you. I'll remove you immediately. So I think he needs to start being that bold. That's what I would say. I think Mikel Arteta needs to start being that bold. Like, play the kid. And if he's not the same way, he should have taken Trossard out in the first half of the game against Newcastle. Trossard should never have come back onto the pitch for the second half. But we didn't lose because of Trossard. We lost because the whole team was poor. We lost because Newcastle outplayed us.
The Newcastle were just a better team on that day. But that year, against Bournemouth, even like you guys didn't really create much. It was almost similar. Even before that red card, like you guys were not really creating much against Bournemouth.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, in
those kind of games, not. It's like it's been.
Listen, in those kind of games,
I think I think before even I don't know. I didn't watch the Shakhtar Donetsk game, the Champions League, but from what they said it was.
It was a boring fest for Shakhtar Donetsk game, but we won. We did what we
did. Like it was a game whereby you guys created, or it was just one of those games where you scrapped.
We scrapped the win.
It's like it's building up. It's consistency now. Like you guys are not really.
This is a narrative that is not true. That narrative is not true. If you look at the data and if you look at the data properly and read it, there's no narrative that we're not creating. Okay, how is it that we're not creating when Bukayo Saka has the highest numbers of chances created in the league?
No. I mean, maybe
Hold on.
in the
No.
last 3-4 games. So
I'm saying, but I'm saying overall in the 10 games overall this season in the league, Bukayo Saka has the most chances created in the league. So how is Arsenal not creating when
no.
Bukayo Saka plays for Arsenal? And Bukayo, hold on. So my point is, we are creating. There's
Mhm.
just this narrative that because we're not scoring it, oh, Arsenal is not creating. That's not true.
But in the last 3-4 games, will I say will I say okay? Let's say Shakhtar Donetsk, Bournemouth, and this Newcastle game. It's as if there's been that pattern, a little bit of that pattern, whereby you guys are not really creating. Prior to that, fair, you guys were doing it, but now I think maybe because when I was watching Newcastle, when I was watching the game against Newcastle, I'm like, what is happening to Arsenal? What's happening to Arsenal? Because this is not like the Arsenal we all. I was expecting, of course, Newcastle United will have their moments and all that, but Arsenal will still find a way to create and to punish them, especially now that because Saka was back. And also, in the last few games, it seems like you guys are really not creating much, and it's like the midfield is looking stale. Like it's not the midfield is looking rigid. It's not flexible, and of course, we know why. We all know why. It's because
It's
Odegaard.
I can tell you why. It's not just Odegaard. So in defense, we
Yeah.
had to bring in Ben White with an injury eventually, which Mikel didn't want to do earlier. We've had to play Thomas Partey in right back.
Okay.
That's a midfielder that has a lot of impact for us in the midfield that can carry the ball forward. He's had to play in right back and invert, and sometimes even stay in right back, to make sure that he covers that position. And then we've been forced to then play two very defensive minded midfielders. The duo in Mikel Marino and Declan Rice.
Declan Rice.
And Declan Rice. And then Mikel, like I said, defaults to senior players, decides he's going to play Leandro Trossard, who's a left winger and a out and out, forward. He's a forward because he plays either left wing, right wing, or nine as a 10.
Yeah.
And you play that as a 10. So of course you're going to suffer in the midfield. It's not because Odegaard is out, because if Odegaard, here's the thing, even with Odegaard out, if we played Declan in the 8, Merino in the 6,
yeah,
Declan playing that 8, he played it well last season for us.
I don't think Declan can do the job. That one, I don't agree with you. I don't think Declan can play an 8.
Hear me, but he did. I'm saying because he has played in that role before. I'm not saying he can't. There's a difference between saying Declan is an 8. I'm not saying Declan is an 8. There's a big difference. I'm saying he's played in the 8 before and he knows what to do. In certain isolated games, you can, as a manager, you remember what we did in this certain, and this is what I need you to do. And he's done it and he did it well. He's crashed the box, he scored goals, he's given assists from that 8th position last season. All I'm saying is in isolated games where you have injuries like with the Odegaards or this or the Calafiores, where you now have to play your midfielder in defense and you have to switch the team around, then you must be bold enough as a manager to take those kind of risks. In this isolated game today, I'm going to play Merino in the 6. You play this 8. That remember how we did that, this and this and this. This is what I need to do, and then you can play. And the good thing is Merino too plays that 8 role quite nicely. Or you can play Merino as the false 10, because I've seen him play for Spain as well. He plays like a 10 sometimes in that role, and drop Thomas Partey back in there. So if we had our defenders and they were not injured,
okay,
maybe the midfield would have been a bit different as regards to those couple of games that we've been playing badly. But I'm not, no excuses for injuries for me. My thing is, you made your bed, you have to lie in it, Mikel Arteta. If you have decided that these are the players that you want to run with this season, then you have to make it work. You have to make it work, because I will not buy the narrative, that because we lost a game against Newcastle, this was the same team against Manchester City with 10 men that City could not beat us with 11 men, and they had all their players on the pitch. This was the same team. So what are we talking about? It's like I don't buy that narrative. So for me, this is an isolated game or an isolated streak of failure.
It's just one of those games. That's what you're trying to say.
These last couple of games are one of the games that no team was going to go unbeaten this season. So everybody's lost. Last season, City had 3 losses.
Yeah.
Right? If all you need to do is have 3 losses this season, now we've already had 2. And we're like, we must not have another one until the second half of the season. Great.
Yeah.
And then we can then go on to do have 7 draws, and let's get the same points that City got last season. If City can outbeat those points, then City wins again. Because they beat us 2 points last season.
So now that you're now talking about points now, You guys are. I think Arsenal are currently in fifth. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think fourth or fifth. Fourth.
Yeah, Arsenal in fifth with 18 points, and already Liverpool already leading with I think that's 7 points if I'm correct, or
Yeah,
so
7 point gap.
7 point gap,
0.5.
and Man City 5. So do you think it's still possible for Arsenal to go on a very long? You think Arsenal can go on a like 10, 15 games winning streak in the Premier League? I'm not talking about
Yeah,
because
I think they
because your
can.
because your next game now is Chelsea, and to be fair with you, I think the only game I've seen Chelsea play bad was their first game against us, and that I can say, okay, that was just due to the fact Enzo Maresca just got into the
Chelsea,
team,
Chelsea,
but
Chelsea,
Chelsea actually
Chelsea,
create chances. They
Chelsea
create
could not
chances.
Chelsea could not beat a Manchester United that is depleted and is having a Van Nistelrooy as their interim coach who has no idea what they are doing.
But then
Like,
last season, you guys struggled at their home, and it was a lucky win, if I'm very
it was
correct. It
no
was a
last
lucky
season
win. It
it
was a
was a
lucky draw. Sorry, lucky draw.
yeah, but then when they came to the Emirates, what did we do to them last
No,
season?
no,
The
no,
same.
no. But
So my point,
you
I
guys are
don't know,
playing them at
I know,
Stamford
I know.
Bridge, oh.
I'm saying, but we have not lost at Stamford Bridge since 2018. They've
So
not beaten us at Stamford Bridge 2018. So another thing you need to put into
Mhm.
consideration is I like it when we look at form, right? Form is great. We can always just tell things by form, and
Yeah,
that's how if we isolate and say, okay, only by form, then Chelsea wins by form. If it's by form, we shouldn't go and play the game. Chelsea wins. But there
yeah,
are other factors that play a factor. For example, Chelsea going to Manchester United today in the game,
yeah.
the stats are Chelsea had not beat Manchester United at Old Trafford since 2013.
Yeah.
As bad as Manchester United were, Chelsea did not beat them again today. As good as Chelsea have been, they still
Mm-hmm.
did not beat them because some of these factors are factors in football. We haven't lost at the bridge since 2018.
But if Arteta draws that game and Man City and goes on to win their next game and Liverpool win their next game,
But
that the gap widens.
do you forget that Liverpool and City are going to still play themselves? Do you forget that you are still going to have to, one of you is still
But
going
but Dayo,
hold on.
the funny wait,
So for
wait,
me, okay, go on.
wait, Dayo, the thing. As I when Liverpool and Arsenal and Liverpool and Man City will play their self. If Arsenal are 2 points away or 1 point away, it makes sense. But if Arsenal are 6 points away, even if any of them lose, it doesn't really affect. I don't know if you understand.
Do you realize that City just lost the game this weekend?
Yes, but City
hold
lost.
on. We're
Okay.
talking as though Liverpool is the only anomaly in this that is consistently finding ways to win, and they've been playing
Yes.
badly too. They've not been playing
No.
perfectly.
Yeah. They've been finding a way to win.
They've just been finding ways to win. They're not looking like it's not like they're crushing teams and they're just Liverpool dominating. No, they're controlling games when they need to control in spells, and they're doing what they need to do.
No, you can only beat what is in front of you at the end of the day.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying that ask any Liverpool fan that is genuine, they will tell you it is in the moments when Mo Salah just picks up the ball and goes, and then boom, something happens, or in just that one moment where Gakpo gets a chance, or it's Dallo. But overall, in fact, against Ipswich, I heard the first half, Liverpool fans
they didn't play their best. I remember that game.
Exactly.
It was the second half.
But they find ways to win. So Liverpool is the anomaly in this. City and Arsenal are literally riding the same bus right now with the way we're playing. Yes, but you have more than us.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You see the problem here is, like you said, Liverpool, Man City will still go on to play Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool, and these other guys. But the problem is when City drop points, how close are Arsenal at that? Like, what's Arsenal's situation at that point in time? But like City lost now to Bournemouth and Arsenal lost. I don't think Man City will be like, they'll see. Oh, we're still 5 points ahead.
No. I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
you understand what I'm trying to say?
Here's my thing again. I am not saying that it is an easy thing, because you see this narrative that we have to be 2 points behind City. If City goes on a 3-game losing streak right now, what happens? And Arsenal goes on a 3-game winning streak.
What are the chances it will happen?
Exactly.
Because the data shows it has never happened.
Yeah, the data also shows that City have never played this way that they've been playing. The data also shows that City hasn't been playing this way, but it is happening now. Hold on, but it is happening now.
Yeah.
Where Guardiola is your highest goal scorer, literally. Literally. Like, what are we like? Let's call a spade and not a garden utensil. I agree that City right now,
yes,
5 points ahead, it is a tough hill to climb for Arsenal. But you must also put into consideration that one of the reasons that we are where we're at today, Arsenal, is by our own doing. 3 games we played with 10 men out of 10. By our doing, indiscipline. Yeah, and I'm not blaming that on anybody except Mikel Arteta and the boys. Right? So for me, those are the things that have cost us to be where we're at right as of today. 11 men against Brighton, we win that game. 11 men against you guys, we win that game. 11 men against Bournemouth, maybe we draw the game. The way we're playing. That's the way I look at it. It would not have been points dropped to me. Because we know that with 11 men on the pitch, the only game we've lost now with 11 men on the first game we've lost is with Newcastle.
Yeah, with 11 men on the pitch.
That's the first Arsenal loss with 11 men on the pitch. And the second Arsenal lost, in 6 months. So if you're talking about what the data says, if this is my second loss in 6 months, then over the next 6 months, I might be losing only 2 other games. It's not exponential. So
no, I'm just saying, because you're going to Stamford Bridge, like you said, you've not lost there since 2018. But if you go there and you get a point, like winning, like going to Stamford Bridge now feels like is a must-win game, because
every game is
but in the context of the way the point gap right now, that is the problem, the gap. Because if you draw that game, City can be 8 points ahead of you, and Liverpool now can extend it to almost 11 or so per se. So going to Stamford Bridge now feels like it's a must-win, and Arteta cannot afford to, like, that's the problem here. If let's say Man City lost and it was like, and you guys lost and it was just still 2 point gap or 3 point gap ahead, I don't think there will be the City players or Arsenal fans players too will be like, this is not, we can still do this. But the rate at which it's going, as I when, like you said, City will play the likes of the Liverpool and the rest. If the gap keep increasing, even if any of them lose to each other, it doesn't make.
What if the gap is not increasing? Why is the narrative that by the time City and Liverpool play, if the gap keeps increasing, what if the narrative is Arsenal goes on a 10-game winning streak right now, City go on a 7-game winning streak and 3 losses, sparse in between that? What if that's the narrative? Because it's easy for us to sit here and say, let's look at City's data based off of trophies. And because City has done it before, it means they're going to do it again. That's just based off winning trophies. But if you're looking at based off of the consistency of their winning and their losses, City has lost twice in 2024, just like Arsenal has lost twice in 2024.
This one against Bournemouth.
In all competitions, I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
The same thing for Arsenal. So the point is, we are consistent on the data when it comes to how many losses and how many wins, right? The difference is in where we are losing and how we are losing, and the perception of the eye test. That's the difference. That's why people are saying what they're saying. And I'm of the opinion that it is what it is, where we're at right now. I'd rather get away the cobwebs and shake it all off right now. Once that is done, I think it's getting to gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, and let's start shooting. Let's start moving.
Okay, because now, what if now, like, there's never I don't have to say, there's no guarantee in anything. Like I can come back now to take him time. Let's say for the first 7. I remember last season it was like, was it not December, January period? Odegaard started hitting the ground running. It was towards that period they started hitting the ground running, giving assists. And
he was playing with an injury throughout.
Yeah, he started hitting the ground running. So Odegaard coming back is not like an instant. It can actually happen. But what
nobody's saying it's going to be instant. See, here's the thing about it, Ahmed, that I like to tell people. Yesterday somebody asked me on the stream, what do I think the scoreline for Chelsea and Manchester United will be? And I said I think it will be a draw. Okay. And he said, never. What do you mean? And I said I can explain why I think it will be a draw. I think it'll be a draw because of one simple reason. Manchester United right now are in a euphoric state of, we have taken the witch off our back. Eric Ten Hag we have hung the witch. We have gotten rid of. That's what they're happy. This is not new manager bounce. This is excitement bounce. Hold on, sorry. Sorry, Ahmed.
No problem.
Yes, I was saying to this. I said I think it'll be a draw. I said because there is a difference between the energy of sigh of relief. Wow, at least we'll get somebody that will see what he can do. This Eric Ten Hag guy is out, right? And that excitement by the fans that are coming to the stadium now, knowing that they didn't want Eric Ten Hag. Now they just want to come and cheer the boys on. The 12th man. You haven't won there since 2013. These are real factors that can affect the game.
So that you're not really bothered about the point gap right now, and the fact that you guys are playing Chelsea next, and
No, I'm not bothered
uh,
about. I'm not bothered about the point gap now and the fact that I'm playing Chelsea yet. And I'll tell you why I'm not. There's still 29 games to play, and
okay.
anything can happen. And I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, well Liverpool have not played tough games," which is, I think you play who is in front of you, like you said. I don't
Mm-hmm.
judge it by that. I think that's a weak argument. People say, let them keep racking up their points. Everybody will have their spell. However, you manage that spell of losses. We saw it last season against City as well. City had a spell when Rodri got a red card, and in the 3 games back to back that you played, you lost one and drew two. You dropped points in
Mm-hmm.
all 3 games till Rodri came back. So we've seen that this can happen. So
Oh.
there's no like, my thing is, unless everybody else is going to be lucky enough to go throughout this entire season, not get red cards like us, not have a bad spell like we're having right now, then yeah, the season is over for us because their luck will ride them through. But if everybody is going to get their fair share of what usually happens in football, I don't think 5 points is something that we cannot claw back.
No, to me, the way I see it, I don't think like the season is over for us now. But I don't. But right now, I
It's
think
just harder.
it's harder. It's quite a difficult task because of your next game. We are playing Inter Milan, and Mikel Arteta will play a full squad in that game. It's a Champions League, and your next game, the players.
If I were him, I would not play a full squad against Inter Milan, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, and your next game is Chelsea.
Do you know why I won't play a full squad? Because this
Because
is why you say player management. We've already qualified with the points that we have, basically.
Mhm.
we don't really need to go there and do a madness. This is why people like this. Why this format I really like it. It favors people. Like, you've done the business already. You don't need to go and do a madness now. Worst case scenario, you'll play 1 week team for a playoff to get a chance to get into the 16. Worst case, and then you can then do the madness. So you can take your time and restructure, recalibrate. You can play some players off the bench who also have a lot of experience in this Champions League, the Jorginhos, the Marinos who have played in the Euros. You can play these guys. I don't mind, because at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that your first team players get an experience of the Champions League, but you don't want to burn them out because there's a game at the weekend. So it's all about management. And I think that, with the right team around Mikel Arteta, they'll give him the right advice and he'll do the right thing. So I mean, that's how I would manage it if I was to manage it.
So you will go with it, not you rather save the stronger team for the Chelsea game
yes, I will.
Okay.
I will, because that's a must-win game for me. This is not a must-win game. That's the difference. Okay. Inter is not a must-win. Inter is, even if I get a point from Inter, I've qualified. Even if I lose to Inter, I still have I'm still in the qualification bracket to be able to go to the round of 16 in my group already. So having not conceded any Champions League goal at the Emirates already throughout all the games we've played. So I mean, for me, it's like you have to weigh the odds. This is not a must-win, but fans want to burn out players. You must go to Inter San Siro and show them, beat them 2-0. They come and play Chelsea. Like, guys, they're not robots.
Okay, but you're really worried about the fact you guys are conceding goals?
No, every team will concede goals.
No, like Arsenal, for everything will concede goal, like even Man City. But Arsenal, Saliba and Gabriel have been, like last season, have been the two guys. But this season, you can tell there's just something different about that defense. And you guys it seems like teams are finding a way. Basically, you guys are conceding goals, unlike the Saliba and Gabriel, like the Arsenal defense. Or you're not worried about that?
I'm not worried that teams find a way to score. That's what the teams are supposed to be doing. I mean, we are not the best defense this season in the league. Last season,
of course, yeah.
So the difference is, like, I told you when, but like, yeah, but I said no. But last season we said we're the best, and we showed we're the best defense last season. This season we haven't said we're the best defense. Liverpool is the best defense this season.
No, but coming up from last season, you guys had the best.
I know, but it still doesn't matter. We see, this is why I say narratives I do not like. I don't like narratives, because what people are trying to do now is beat them over the head with their performance from last season. That this season, look at already, people are scoring against you. Saliba and Gabriel are not. And then the next, give it another week or two, you will hear this is not the best partnership in Europe anymore. They still are. They still are. Like, do you understand? Like turning around and saying Rodri is still not the best DM in the world because he's out for the season. It's silly. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a silly notion. So
I think you can put it down to the season in particular. For this season, I don't think you can say they are not the best partnership. I think right now, at this moment, right now, probably I'll give it to Konate and Van Dijk for this
Yeah,
season.
if you say in form, Konate and
Yeah, Van Dijk, yeah, in form.
So exactly. So the same thing for Gabriel and Saliba last season. In form, they were in form the whole season. So when people say, "Oh," and I'm like, you now you want. Here's what people want to do. Now they want to start at this season saying Konate and Van Dijk, because they are in form, are better than Gabriel and Saliba, which is true because they are in form and they are not in form. Last season, when Saliba and Gabriel were in form, they started saying this is the best partnership in the whole of Europe, so that they can knock them down if they make a mistake. Why did they just say these guys are just in form?
All right. Okay, but there's no problem.
It's crazy for me.
I understand. Like you said, you're not worried, but man, looking at that Arsenal's since you say you're not worried, there's no problem.
I'm not worried because I know what this team is capable of doing. There's a big difference if I don't know what they're capable of doing. What will worry me is if I see a consistency in them not giving 100% when they're on the pitch. Like against Newcastle, they did not give 100%. Now, against Inter, I don't care if you win or lose. I want to see 100%. Now, of course, I want to win. But I'm saying, first, I want to see that you want to win. You know what I mean? And then I'll be okay with it. So
all right. Guys, thank you very much. And Dayo, thank you so much. Please do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. And like I said, the link to his channel will be in the description also. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Once again, thank you so much, Dayo.
Peace.